then either use a flat scraper or you can use a ruler, compress both sides and do it the opposite direction. You can flip the clay over. So you place this at the edge, at the corner, and then you can start to trace out just the outline of the template. Next thing you want to do is to look at the square that's the base, and you want to roughly be able to see where the line is, where the fold is. So just take a needle and slide it on the line. Not too hard, just to get a print. Transfer a print of the line, and you can see a little bit there. Okay, so this is more or less the exact transfer of the template. Next thing you want to do is have some water on your fingertips, and then you want to bevel this a little bit. Okay, you just need to control how much water you introduce onto the work. Just enough so that you can slide your fingers on it a little bit like that. You start to see a beveling. So the beveling should be about 45 degrees. Okay, on all sides. The top sides, the top. Then you can flip it over and do the same for the other side. Just a little bit of water so that your finger can slide. Okay, after you're more or less done with the beveling for both sides, what I'm going to show you now is how to flip it, and join the walls together. So it becomes a 3D form instead of now it's just flat. So you can use 2 flat cards or 1 ruler and a card, you know. So you already know that the line at the back is over here. What you can do is, if you're not too sure, you can get the placement of the square base by putting the template on again. Okay, and then transferring the line there. Just very lightly, not too hard, because you don't really want to weaken the clay at the joints. You just want to see the line. So we put the card here and use the other card on the opposite side, and we flip it over very gently. Okay, so 1. Okay, then you do the same. Slide the card underneath and just flip it like that. Just to get it to stand a little bit. Hold the card at the joint, push the card down, and flip over. If you are quite gentle, you can just use your fingers just to press it down and help it along and flip it over. Okay, do the same for the other side. Okay, this clay is slightly on the thick side. You can have it a bit thinner by another. See, the line here helps it to fold. You can have it as thin as 5 mm if the clay is very plastic. Okay, so something like that. Then after that, you can just use your hands to more or less get it to meet. See, you get it to meet, you gotta curve it a little bit so that the seams are joined together. Okay, see how I press it? And then when you press it, because of the shape of the template, you can see a little bit of pointy edges. Roughly just do this first. See the shape? Okay, so next thing is to join. We use the same toothbrush, which is just a little bit wet, okay, not too wet. And we want to introduce the water on both sides. Scratch out the slip. If you are not too sure about the toothbrush making it rough enough, you run your needle down the seams. Okay, just a little bit of water, just at the tip. Okay, scratch at the seams where it joins. Okay, and then run your needle. Give some more hairline texture to it. Okay, you don't need to be very deep because the clay is very soft. Okay, and then you push it together. Like that. So when you push it, you really want to be very controlled. Make sure there's no air pockets. Same for here. Use the tip of your fingers like this. Even pressure. Okay, to push it together. You really want to have a very good fit on this side too. Okay. Well, some people, if you look at it, some people like the detail of the seams, other people just don't like it, so it's entirely up to you whether you want to keep the seams look or not. Okay, and then over here I'm going to make it a little bit bulging out, so I use my finger, push on the inside and sort of create a pouch, come out a little bit. So you can do that for the whole piece. How much you can push out depends on how plastic your clay is. If it's thicker, it's a little bit more forgiving, but of course it looks heavy. Okay, we do the same for the other side. Okay. And then after that, you can look at the joints here. You can keep it a bit irregular, or you can trim it away. So if you want to lever it, you can just eyeball it from the top and then take this off. And take this off. Take this off. And this off. Okay, so I'm going to show you later on how to make the cover. So I kind of like the slightly irregular shape. Okay, and then you can tap it a little bit to lever it. Okay, next thing is to, you know, smoothen the sides. Make a lid. So you get a piece of clay that's bigger, slightly bigger. If your clay just simply doesn't fit at a small corner, not enough clay, you can take some clay and just patch it up like that to expand the size of the clay. Okay, you can take a roller to flatten it a little bit, not too much, just to get a even surface. And the next thing is you want to put the rim over this, and if you want your lid to flush exactly at where the outline of the rim is, you just cut it with no allowance. But some people like to have a bigger lid, so you can make a lid that is broader than the rim. Okay, so you look at it, okay, this size, okay, this is where the lid is going to go on here. And I'm going to show you how to make a stopper. This will prevent the lid from sliding off. So you can take like 1.5 cm on the inside. Then you take another piece of clay. Okay, this additional piece of clay here can be thin. Okay, can be can be half the thickness, because you don't want it to be so heavy, and you also don't want the weight to drag the lid down when it's drying. So just half the thickness like that. Okay, and you can roughly duplicate the shape here. Can be smaller, shouldn't be bigger. Okay, because when you press down, you might widen it. See, just a tad smaller, and followed by scoring it. You can have this special homemade tool, helps the scoring to be done faster, and it's a lot finer than okay. Scratch the slip out and then just press down. Okay, at this point then you can make it nice. If you want a nice beveled edge, you can do the same. Wipe a little bit of water, make it nice, and so it's not sharp. Okay, flip it over. Make sure it's a well finished piece of work.